Okay, evening everyone. Now tonight we're going to be exploring persona. So this is the who you are on stage side of things. So this is the really crucial thing, figuring out this kind of person you become when you're on stage. So it's a version of you, but it's not kind of literally you. Sometimes it's quite far removed from who you really are, but often it's an exaggeration or a heightening of some aspects of yourself. But it's really good to have this kind of clear idea of who you become when you step on stage. And then you've got someone, in effect, to write for. You've kind of got a character to write for. So usually it's not as strong as literally a character. Of course, sometimes comedians do perform a character, but we're not talking about that, when you literally adopt a character and put on a costume. But it's this version of you. So there is, in a sense, a costume. What is it you wear when you're on stage? And it's kind of good deciding that and defining that and being clear, what that is. And it can really help if you wear something particular when you're performing. So you're taking on that, and it's sort of consistent. I remember when Jeff Whiting started. I didn't know him then, but he told me that he always used to wear this green velvet or blazer. And in fact, it wasn't massively to do with his persona, but it gave him a sense of, now I'm doing my stand-up thing. And in fact, he said it helped because people say, oh, I'd like to book that guy. The one who wears the green velvet blazer. Oh, right, yeah. Oh, Jeff, book him. So rather than just wearing whatever you happen to be wearing that day, having that consistent look gives it an identity. But even better when the look is somehow speaking to your style or what it is that you're doing. And it's a product. You are a product. If you're if you're serious about stand-up, wanting to get gigs, wanting to get paid gigs, even, you're the product. And so you need to define what that product is, and people need to know what it is that they're getting when they book you. I remember Jimbo, who I'm pleased to hear is back out on the circuit. He's sort of in his 70s now, but he was a really notorious open spot. He never progressed beyond being an open spot because literally he would do something different every single time. And sometimes it will be amazing, and sometimes it will be a dreadful car crash. And no one had any idea which it was going to be. And so nobody would ever pay him. People would often put him on just for the fun of putting on Jimbo, the legendary open spot, just to see what would happen. But because you didn't know what you were getting, well, you knew you were getting something random and mad and could be a disaster, it could be great. So I suppose in that sense, he did have an identity, but not something anyone was willing to pay for because it was sort of so uncertain. Of course you'll want to experiment and try different things, but if somebody has booked you and they said, I want you to come and do the gig, they'll want you to do the thing that they've seen you do before and that they like. And it's always disappointing if you book someone and they do something totally different. You go, oh my God, what? You were telling these really funny stories about your family last time. Oh no, I thought I'd try one-liners tonight. It's like, oh, well, I didn't book a one-liner comic. I booked this comic who does funny stories about their family. So, kind of open spots where there's no expectation, that's a good time to experiment. But when somebody's actually booked you and asked for you, it's really important to have this thing that you do. And often they want to see you do the material that they've seen you do before as well. That's a mistake that newer acts make, thinking that they've got to keep doing something different. Of course, you want to keep writing and keep moving on, but there are times to try new stuff and times to do the stuff that you've done before and that works. That hopefully, you've improved upon even more. But so this kind of persona is all part of this. What is this product? What's the look? What is it you do? What is the style of the act? What is it people are getting when they book you, and being really clear about that. And it takes a while to discover what that is. There are famous examples like Rod Gilbert, Welsh comic. His whole thing is he's really angry. And he's angry about sort of trivial things or stupid things, but that's his whole shtick. When he started out, he was very mild-mannered and surreal. And it took him a long time to discover that anger was was funny for him. So that's an example. And it's kind of partly about being alive to what the audience are liking and what they enjoy you doing. Think, okay, they like that. Let me try doing more of that. So we'll be exploring this slippery topic of persona this evening. Okay, excellent. Now I'm going to get you doing a quick exercise to get things started. And it's going to be around contrary attitudes. So when you're being contrary, what is that? What does that mean if you're being contrary?
Different to the norm?
Yeah. So you're being different to the norm, and you're deliberately taking a stance that's kind of the opposite to well, the norm is, or the consensus. So contrary attitudes. So attitude-wise, that's really at the heart of comedy. But also taking a surprising attitude as well. Taking a surprising attitude to something can be a way into comedy. But we're going to think particularly about contrary attitudes and how contrary attitudes are a big part of your persona.